Howdy, folks. I'm Rebecca Jolly, the Jolly Alchemist, today with a neutrino forecast for Friday, the 3rd of October, 2025. So, this Friday, we are moving into the right angle cross of tension in the third quarter. So, that means this is intrapersonal tension. Yay! And it's beginning to feature the grouping around gate 48. So we're beginning to look at the nature of depth. That's over here, coming up out of the spleen and heading towards the throat in this channel of mastery. Or it's called the wavelength, I think, also, but it's really about the logical process and gaining skills. So we're looking at skill mastery, meeting with depth, and then from there it goes down into correction or also up. Just a sec. Oh, okay. Guess I don't need to sneeze. But anyway, we still have the underpinning support here of 39 and 38. That's the provocation saddle, which is right here. That you can see my partner has in orange. The 38 on this side, that's the gate of struggle, and 39 provocation over there. So then what we have on the sun side of the 48 is gate 21. That's the gate of control. So it's coming out of the ego or willpower center here and going in this channel of materialism or the channel of money towards the throat. So the 21, what we have here in this channel is the hunter and the gatherer. So the hunter is the one that really needs to be in control. All right, so the grouping, the opposite that we have here featured is depth on the sun side and then control on the earth side. So these are both pretty powerful gates here. So we're still dealing with a lot of power in this right angle cross of tension. This is the first line, so it's all inwardly focused. It's a personal cross. It's about that first line, which is introspective, investigative, really digging down into the foundation of the house so that it can get enough information so that it can feel comfortable. And in the case of this 48th gate, it wants to dig information, excuse me, so that it can feel like it has something to do with correcting and getting that depth up to the throat. So in the entire logical process, as I've been saying recently, because we've been talking about the logical process in our last grouping of the 17th gate, the logical process is a difficult one because it's starved of energy. It doesn't have access to a motor until you get all the way down here to the root. So all these gates up here are just like running around asking for support, trying to get help, trying to get funding, trying to find somebody to say, hey, we need a pattern for the future. Help us figure it out so that we can know what's coming for us. And in this channel right here, specifically with depth and skills, we're looking to correct that pattern because it's that 48 that gets the information of what needs to be corrected so that the 18 can focus on it. So that deepness of the 48 is collecting information. And on one side, with the first line, we have here paying attention to what is practical and deserves attention. All right. Or the other side of it is really paying attention to what's not practical. So like trivia, what's just hanging out there and not really being that important, but a lot of 48s are interested in trivia because of this. There's so much information going. There's so much out there. But Ross said that he always tells the people who have this 48th gate, especially the first line, Uh, this depth is something that has to be developed over a lifetime. You're not going to get it in the beginning. And that's why he called this line insignificance. Now, of course, 64 Keys calls it pragmatism because they're not into that shocking kind of shit. They're not into like pissing people off in the same way that Ra was. So he was focusing on the aspect of it that it's small things. They have a tendency to look at small things because the big things don't. It's hard to get support for that. The 48th gate is a gate of frustration. It's always looking to get its energy up to the throat. So it's really wanting to get through that gate of skills. And people who have the 48 without the 16 really are tending to be focused on, I need the skills, so that 48 can get expressed, so it can get manifested, so it can get out. That's not the way it's supposed to work. If you're doing that, that's your not self. That's a road to only frustration and troubles. So what's meant for people who have this 48th gate activation is to focus on their depth, to find the things that are there for them to focus on. And Ra says, if you have this 48th gate, the things for you to focus on are going to come to you. Don't worry, you're going to get the things that are for your depth. So don't try to understand it with your mind. It's not a mental thing. He says it's a lymph thing. I was like, lymph? How interesting. But the long and short of it is that our bodies are going to collect the depth that we need. And that's really what's going on here. This depth is just collecting little tiny bits of information everywhere until all of a sudden, click, it sees the pattern. It knows what should be looked at for the future. And then it's like, and I want to tell somebody. Yeah. And that's why it needs the skills. And that's why this channel is so often associated with music, because it's through music or poetry, but a lot of times it's about music, that the skills and the depth can meet together to send a message that doesn't have to be something that's logical, but can still draw attention. And that's why we have a lot of our musicians now drawing attention to the fact that we have all this inequality. Shit's not going straight with society. It's not working. That needs to be looked at. So there's what's going on with the depth. On the other side of it, we have control. That's a whole nother bag of worms. So control 21 line 1 is called warning. Gaining respect in order to keep peace. Now, what is not really expressing there is that this 21st gate is so complex. So I'm trying to put it into just a few minutes because I don't have time to say all the things that are going on here. In fact, I think I will put off the names until tomorrow so that I can try to get some information to you about what's going on in gate 21. Super complicated. And it matters a lot what else is going on. If the 21 is hanging off an open gate, or if it's defined in itself, what kind of type that 21 is attached to. So it works lots of different ways. That's something that you're going to have to come to me to get more information about. But let's talk about the basics of what 21 is. 21 wants to be in control. 21 needs to be in control. 21 should be in control. So if the 45 is the queen or the king, the ruler, the owner, like if we use the analogy of a factory, I like that one because that one really makes much more sense to me than the king and queen. The 45 wants to own the factory. I have the resources. I can give them to you. I can share them to you. The 21 wants to count. It wants to control. It wants to see the people coming in the factory every day and do the little clicky of them coming in. It wants to know that the time is always being stamped for these people. It wants to write the paychecks. It wants to count the resources going in, the resources going out, the numbers. So these are the people that really should be put in charge of the money. Let them count the money. Let them have the control. Give it to them, especially children. And this is something that's very difficult for children to carry because children are by the nature of children, especially in our society, not given any control. How difficult is it to know inside your body that you're meant to have control, to be controlling, but nobody lets you do it? So there's an awful lot of frustration going on in this gate, even with adults, because a lot of times adults that have 21 are not given control. And then they're just sitting there, just stewing on it, just going, "Grr, grr," knowing inside of themselves that they're supposed to be in control, that they can be in control, and not being able to have it. That sucks. So that's a heavy kind of a definition to take. But, oh, and by the way, it's not just frustrating for them, it's frustrating for the people around them. As a 45, I can tell you from experience, this channel is, by the way, best filled by more than one person. So as a 45, I'm always like aware that I'm looking for the 21. I'm like kind of focused, and maybe more than I should be, a lot of people say, especially my children, on that 21. But when I meet a 21, oftentimes that bitch don't like me because she sees what I've got in the 45, and instead of sitting down in her 21, she's always looking to me and going, damn, that bitch has what I want. And maybe at some point in the past, I would have said, yeah, oh, she gets to control, and been hating on the 21s. But I don't know 21s from the past. By the time I understood this whole dynamic of the 21, I was like sort of fascinated with like, ooh, 21s. I need one of you guys in my life if I'm going to be making a lot of money. Oh, 21, you want to come with me? Oh, come over here, 21. And they're all like, we don't like you. And I'm like, damn it. That's frustrating. Damn it. So it's a difficult kind of energy to handle on both sides of that channel there. But yeah, specifically the 21. Because out of all these strong gates that are in the ego and willpower center, the 21 is the strongest. Of all the sharpness, the 21 is the sharpest. Of all the prickliest, the 21 is the prickliest. It's the strongest ego, and so it's the one that has the most need to be in control. Okay, it's quite a burden, especially if they have no opportunity to be in control. They really do need to have it. So especially, like I said, for kids, if you have a child with a 21st gate, no matter what kind they are or whatever, you have to come to me for the details. But just generally speaking, give them control. Let them control their money. Let them control their schedule. Let them control their room. Give them all the control that you can so that they can start to understand what it is to be in control, to handle it, and to be able to grow into that responsibly so that they can do it well. Otherwise, they ain't going to be nice. They're going to be nasty to you. And that's really what this is talking about here. In the first line, gaining respect in order to keep peace. Well, Ra, he puts it the opposite way. He says, force is a last resort. And he's saying, if they don't get control, they are justified in using force as a last result. But believe me, none of us want to see that. So, let's give our 21s the control. Take it. The moon starts off in 49-1. 49 is the gate of revolution. Rawr, right here. This one I have in orange. That is realism, which only supports viable principles. So basically that's saying, fine, I understand the system needs to be changed. Let's have a revolution, but just not any revolution. Let's just not go around cutting off people's heads randomly. French. Let's do it viably. Let's base this on real principles. And of course, the French Revolution was based on good principles, right? Égalité, liberté, fraternité, something like that, right? Yeah. But like a lot of things, it sort of jumped the shark in the end. What are you going to do? So after the 49, the moon will move into gate 30. That is clinging fire. That is, will the fates allow me to have this experience, this emotional experience that I am longing to have? And then into 55, abundance. And that's the glass half full, glass half empty. This is like one of the sharpest places you see the wave, where people are just waking up just all the way up or all the way down. There's a lot of melancholy in that because also it's individual circuitry. So, shit. Yeah. A lot of depression that goes on there. But there are secrets for managing depression. And if you want to know more about that, come on and see me. But right now, let's move on. Okay, we have Mercury starting off at 32 line 5. 32 line 6 comes next because we did look at 32 line 5 yesterday. That was flexibility, flexible adaptation to changed circumstances. 32, again, is our gate of constancy through change, or what's the name? It's another C word. Fuck, I can't think of it just now. It'll swing around. I'm talking about the 32 all the time. Although we are moving through it here. Continuity. Continuity? Being able to stay stable through changes. That's what's going on there. It's that essential ingredient for success. All right, and it will move into the 6th line today. That is inner tranquility, tranquility that calmly faces changes. So that's the 6th line. That's continuity. It is continuity. Doing what it's supposed to do and just being stable, not thinking about it, not talking about it, just being it in the body. The 32 itself, line 6, is looking into the next yard, so it's not really even concerned about it. But okay. So if you're facing some changes, you can know that this 5th line and 6th line energy will support you through that at this time today. Venus starts off at 64.6. We talked about this yesterday, being, where was that? Victory, the gift of enjoying the confusion, but it does have a down arrow on it today. And so that is, one loses the right perspective as one gets lost in the search for meaning, and confusion is being celebrated. So it's basically saying that enjoying the confusion, while it's lovely, can also jump the shark and go into, okay, you're losing your perspective. You're maybe enjoying confusion a little too much. So, all right. Something to be aware of there. Let's see. Next, after the 64.6, 64 being, of course, the gate of confusion. Let me see if I can. Sorry, folks. Get it up there so that I can show you 64 there. That's the confusion coming down to the 47, which is wanting to make sense out of confusion. And that's exactly what it's moving to next, is 47, line 1, which is taking stock of what causes hardship. What causes hardship? Confusion. And it will also go to 2, ambition, to overcome oppression. What kind of oppression? Confusing mental oppression. So we've got that whole trying to make sense of things going on again, which basically gives us 2 activations of the 47th gate for people who are being born. And no, the 64 will change into a 47. So over the course of the day, we will lose this connection that we've had for a few days now as Venus went through the 64, which is the 64-47 seeker of sense. So that will be fading through today. So make sense while you can, right? And then we move to our Mars energy, the last of our people energies, which is still in risks at the beginning of the day, 28.6, which was blaze of glory, wanting to win no matter the cost. And that will also shift into 44. 44 is what I call situational awareness, or it's called collaboration, but it's about being able to see what's going on in a situation, what people might need, and how their needs might work into getting resources into the community from that 26 going, I see what you need. It's a used car. Let me sell it to you. So 44 line 1 is conditions, structuring the collective through conditions. We're going to swing around to that one again, but not terribly soon, so stick around for that. All right. Yeah. We will do the song, though. I'll explain the tie tomorrow and the people tomorrow. But, oh, yeah, we're already really over time. So, it is Hoist the Colors, right? We're in tension. So this is a great song, like very just like thieves and beggars and pirates, and they're about to make some trouble for somebody. Tension is building. So, yes. And this version I was checking out was by the Wellermen. And then there's a ton of other names. And I was like, for fuck's sake, I'm not writing down all this shit. But E-Bucks, Eric Holloway, and Big Brev, and then a bunch of other people. But that's enough. If you look up Hoist the Colors by the Wellermen, Men, you'll find the song. Or any version of the song will do. It's a very cool song, especially when you've got like these the four guys, I forgot the name of it, but a cappella singing, all that sort of thing. So anyway, that's the beginning of tension. There we go. This actually marks us swinging around to one entire quarter of the year having covered this, because I started very close to the cross of tension 3 months ago. So until tomorrow, take care. See ya. Ciao.